Welcome to another Back to School episode of It Takes a Viking, the official podcast of the Salem State University Alumni Association and Foundation. My name is Mike Mitchell, Director of Engagement in the Office of Advancement. On today's episode, we are joined by the Dean of the AACSB accredited Bertolon School of Business here at Salem State, Dean Raminder Luther. Dean, welcome to the show. How are you?
Oh, thank you. I love that introduction. AACSB accredited business school. Yes, I love that.
Only 6% of the world's business schools get it.
Absolutely.
We got to honk that horn whenever we can.
And we always tell our students, be proud of it.
Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely.
We are looking forward to getting to know you, kind of what your outlook is on the dean's role and things, all the good things that are happening here in the BSB. Yeah. So the first question I'd like to ask you, though, is what's your story? How did you end up coming to Salem State, and why did you want to be the dean of the Bertolon School of Business?
So I'm not sure that my story started with my desiring to be the dean.
Fair, okay.
You know? But when I was growing up back in India, one thing I was certain of, actually two things I was certain of. One was I do want to become a professional. I don't want to be just a housewife. I want to become a professional. And the second was I do not want to be a professor. So I did my engineering, I went for my MBA, I became a marketing engineer in India, but then I decided to come to the US to pursue a PhD. So I come to the US, I'd applied for PhD, I got selected, I came in and I told my advisor in our first meeting, this is what I want to do. I was pursuing a PhD in marketing and I told him. And my advisor said, you're in the wrong place. PhD is about exploration. It's not about preset dissertation topics. So I went in to do a finance PhD, but didn't want to waste my marketing courses, so I got a minor in marketing. But anyway, and then I go in as a teaching assistant in my first class to teach statistics. And I come back to my dorm and I called my husband, who was still in India. I said, I love teaching. I think I'm going to stay here. I'm going to start teaching here. So I really enjoyed it. And so I came to Salem State 27 years ago. And I joined here as a faculty member in finance. And then 5 years ago, just before we were going up for our initial accreditation by AACSB, I was asked by the provost if I would take over and as interim. And so I did. And then a year and a half or so into my position, we received the accreditation and all of that. And then we went through actual search process. And then I was appointed a full-time dean. In the interim part fell off.
And I want to emphasize the importance of that AACSB accreditation. We joked about it when we started talking, but you're the dean that got us there after, from what I can surmise, decades of trying for this accreditation.
Well, it is almost full circle for me, because when I was hired, I was told that we are looking for a finance faculty member who has publications because we are going up for AACSB accreditation. Right? So I was brought in as a faculty member. I was already teaching in Pennsylvania, but I applied, I was hired primarily because we needed a finance faculty member at that time with some research, because AACSB requirements were such, right? So that was our first attempt at AACSB back in 1999 or something like that, And yes, it took us, more than 20 years. And this was our third attempt at it. And faculty have been very brave. I mean, you fall down once, you stand up. You fall down the second time. How many times can you continue to do that? But faculty kept supporting that we will go for it. I am not sure how many more times we could have done it. So I'm very happy that we got to the point where we did. It may have something to do with me in terms of like reviewing the report and making sure that we are actually capturing all of our stories correctly. But the creation of the story was only because of all of the faculty who were involved in it.
And now as you approach, you get the initial accreditation 2020, we're coming up on the 5-year renewal of it. What does the renewal process look like? What does it consist of?
So the 5-year renewal process has actually moved on to 6 years. And that's why we are not going up for renewal 2025, it's 2026. Okay. That's when the visit takes place. But what happens is, so the process has already started actually, right? We know at this point what exactly they expect from us in our report. So last time when the peer review team came, they told us what were really some of the excellent things that we had done, which were examples for others. And at the same time, they also told us what are some of the areas that we should work on more. So over the past 5 years, we've been working on those 4 or 5 areas that they pointed out. And when we applied for, yes, we are ready for a reaccreditation visit, we had to explain to them if we had done some work on those areas or not. Based on that, they tell us whether we are eligible for a visit right now or if we need more time. Based on that application, they've already told us we are ready for the visit. At this point, we know who our peer review team members will be and when they will be coming. So they'll be coming next year in November. So right now we are in the process of preparing our report of all of the activities that we've done thus far. Areas of emphasis that the accrediting body looks at are, of course, what are we teaching? How are we assuring that our learners are actually learning all of that? What is the process of our teaching? What kind of technology are we involving? Do we have enough financial support from the institution and others, right, including our gift funds, to make sure that all of the initiatives that we are taking will continue to be taken? How well qualified our faculty are? How are we engaging with the community? What kind of an impact are we having on the community? So they're assessing all of that, right? And so we capture all of that in our report. We will submit that report to our team. Before that, to the chair. The chair will probably come for a pre-visit sometime in spring, tell us if there is any particular area that he's concerned about that we should rewrite in the report or whatever, and we'll do that, and then they will come and visit in November.
Your role now, you've been in the dean's chair for just a little over 5 years, or right around 5 years.
Yeah.
What does a day in the life of the dean of the BSB look like these days? What are some of the things you're working on? What are some of the needs of the students that you're seeing in your faculty and staff, and how do you multitask and handle all those?
So there's a part in my brain that's like constant evolution of ideas. And the good part about my job is that I have a very, very nice supporting team where I can just walk down to the assistant dean's office or the associate dean's office and say, listen, I was thinking about this, and what do you think? They may completely shoot down my idea, and I have no problem with that. Mm-hmm. They may say, oh my God, that's wonderful. Yes, we can do it. How do we do it? Who do we involve? And how do we go about it? We do that. I get every day, there'll be some faculty members who might walk in and say, I have this particular issue. I mean, there was a faculty member this morning who came in and said, this is the club that I'm thinking about. How do you think? Do you think we'll be able to support them? Should I include this? Should I include that? Faculty members may walk in and say, I really need some support. With that support may involve I need some time, I need some money, I need some, so they may come in with those. There may be concerns about some students, either not showing up or not behaving well in class or something. But most of the times my focus is really on, those are just like sort of operational things every now and then, handling all of these kind of situations. But most of the times the focus is really on, are we making sure that every student in the School of Business has a chance to succeed, right? Whether it is inviting students to an event to go to, did you also send it to those who never respond? Can we just follow up with them again? Whether it is peer tutors, are the students who really need help going over to the tutors? Are they going over to the mentor? So constantly thinking about how is it that we're going to make sure that we are providing support, and I keep underlining the word all. And almost everybody throughout the School of Business knows that our emphasis is on that inclusiveness. All of our students need to get all of the support that we need. And so all that sometimes it needs faculty time. Sometimes it needs some financial support. Sometimes it needs student financial support. Students don't have the funds to to even take an Uber to go somewhere, or they don't have the funds to buy the right kind of shirt or a jacket or something to go attend. And some of them will just say, I'm not going, not telling you why they're not going, you know. So it's just constantly thinking about what is it that we can do for them. And if we can come up with more gift funds, because we can never come up with more institutional money. If we can come up with more gift funds, then we'll say, okay, fine from there. If not, then I kind of look at the gift fund guidelines to say, does it allow for me to take some of that money to put for this purpose?
One of the things that you mentioned is taking students to events, and you and I had the unique pleasure of going to the financial district last spring. And as I think about in my years here at the university, and obviously you've been here a little bit longer than I have, but in the last 5, 6, 7 years specifically, the Bertolon School of Business has really placed a pretty strong emphasis on experiential learning opportunities. So whether it's Assistant Dean White taking students to chamber events, or we're taking students to financial district, or it's the Center for Entrepreneurship, or it's the pitch contest, or the Cabot Lab, the emphasis on giving students as many experiential learning opportunities as possible in an effort to prepare them for the real world out there is a job extraordinarily well done.
Thank you. That has been our emphasis in our current strategic plan. We developed this new plan. We implemented it in 2022. We started off with the 5-year plan, 22-27, and now it's 22-28. That's the Bertolon School of Business plan, right? Even when the university came up with its own, it did focus on civic engagement, right? Which is sort of like community engagement. But our focus was always experiential learning, which was then tied into engagement with the community. And we're extremely grateful. I mean, all of the tickets at the chamber events are sponsored by members of the chamber. So we don't ever have to spend a single penny on student tickets. We just took 7 or 8 students to the breakfast this morning. We'll be taking 8 students again to luncheon, a special luncheon at by Thrive, the women's empowerment arm of the chamber. Every time we take students, we usually take 7 to 10 students to every event. All of those tickets are purchased by the chamber members.
And right? It provides such a great resource for those students to be in the room with the professionals to make those critical connections for life after college.
Exactly. And then, so that's one part of it. But, you know, you mentioned we from 2020 onwards, every year, consistently, we've organized the BSB Speaker Series. You know, we've invited business leaders, we've invited our Massachusetts Labor Secretary, we've invited people over to come over and speak at those big gatherings. In addition to that, all of our advisory board members have been coming into classes as guest speakers, right? Our students are managing the fund, the Student Managed Investment Fund, which, you know, started off with $25,000 in 2020, and now we are past $600,000, right? With more philanthropy and, of course, market returns and so on. We've already given out probably more than $5,000 in scholarships out of that fund, right? Internships. The only reason that we are seeing so much interest in internships now from the students is because we told them there isn't going to be any internship that's unpaid, right? We have been communicating that to the employers as well, that all of our internships are paid at the very minimum $16.50 to $17 an hour. We do place them in internships that sometimes are paying $20 to $30 an hour, right? But because every student knows that at the very least that's what they're going to pay, and the only reason we were able to make that commitment was because of philanthropy. Right? Because we got some of those funds, so we were able to now boldly make the claim that every student is going to have a paid internship. And all of a sudden, interest in internships went up. Then we realized that there are students who actually would be very successful in internships, but they're not meeting our criteria, right? We asked them to have a GPA of 3.0. They're coming from such high schools that even when they come here, their GPA remains low, and it's very difficult to get it to 3.0 by the time they're juniors. So now this year, we are implementing an on-campus apprenticeship program, right? And that will become an alternative path for someone to get into the internship program. So it's constant evolution, right? So they're doing that. Our students are participating in the VITA program. They provide volunteer income tax assistance to community members. And I think every year they serve probably close to 100 community members, right? One of our faculty member organizes that. So there's a lot of opportunity for our students, and I think it's critical because our students many of them are first generation. They are afraid to even ask questions unless you bring them out of their shell. And I think experiential education provides that opportunity for them to come out of their shell.
And one of the things that you touched on a moment ago that I'd like to take a moment just diving into a little bit further is that student managed investment fund. So twice a year, end of each semester, students are tracking companies that are publicly traded that they consider investing in, and they get to invest real money into those funds.
Yep.
With the proceeds on the back end being used to benefit a scholarship for students. So to use a business term, it's just a compounding interest effect that if it's done correctly and successfully under the watchful eye of their professors, it's only going to continue to benefit students. And it's also a bonus that it's a real experiential investing opportunity for them.
Absolutely, absolutely. I mean, students love the opportunity. And the thing is, the moment students know that at the end of this semester, after you've done all of the analysis, they get exposed to all of the concepts that they have to be exposed to in order to make the right decisions. And when they know that the right decisions are not just going to be communicated to their faculty member, but they actually are going to share it with the investment committee of the foundation board, right? They all of a sudden elevate their own level, right? So they're really paying attention to, am I making the right decision? Even the scholarship places a certain level of, a certain, I won't call it a stress, but at least, makes them aware that our decisions are going to make a difference in the lives of our peers that are going to follow us, right? So they put a lot of emphasis into making sure that they're actually picking the right companies and evaluating it properly and talking with one another. And the good thing is that we have access to the Bloomberg Lab, right? Again, it's not a cheap lab to have. It costs us almost $100,000 every year to just have those terminals available for our students. Once again, we won't have that if we didn't have the philanthropy, right? We've been getting this, I mean, you probably know, Mr. Gabelli has been giving almost $80,000 every year for the past 3 years now to make sure that we maintain that lab for our students, right? These students would never have seen a terminal, but now that they've seen it, many of them will actually be working in the financial services industry and using that confidently and saying, yeah, I've used this before. Right.
And if I understand correctly, Bertolon is the only Bloomberg or one of a very small handful of Bloomberg labs that exist in this area.
In this area will probably be, one of the handful, again, because most of the times you will see these labs in just like the AACSB accreditation in only about 6% of the world's schools. Bloomberg labs are also in about 6% of the world's business schools.
So regional public university, affordable, resources available to students that they'd get at their private counterparts elsewhere. In the dean's chair for 5 years now. As you look to the future, the next 5-10 years here at the BSB, what does that look like for you?
I think that the school is going to become a hub for the community to depend on. I think our community engagement is deepening. We are you might know that we already have a Center for Entrepreneurship that conducts the business pitch competition, right? That brings in entrepreneurs to the entrepreneurship panel. We also have a Center for Economic Development and Sustainability in College of Arts and Sciences. We are right now in the process of combining the two into one center called Center for Entrepreneurship, Economic Development and Sustainability, or SEEDS for short, right?
We love a good acronym in higher ed.
Oh, I know. And, I mean, it's not seeds with an S, but really it is going to be providing those seeds of economic development for the community. We've already been engaging with the community for various things, right? We've been providing interns to a large number of nonprofit organizations who couldn't afford to pay these interns, but now because of the stipends, we are able to hire the interns with the pay for them, and they are thriving. The nonprofits that actually believe in the same mission, like Leap for Education, who are providing education to school-going kids to ensure that they're college ready, right, etc. So so I think that in the future, Salem State University in general, Bertolon School of Business in particular, are going to become a hub for the community to depend on for any kind of problems or issues that they might be facing in their businesses, that they can bring over to us. And our students will take it up with their faculty members in their classes as projects.
Talking about students for a moment, obviously we've discussed a little bit that the faculty here in the BSB are doing an outstanding job preparing our students. If you have the opportunity to talk to a prospective student who comes to campus for a tour, what's a piece of advice that you would give them about maybe why they should consider the BSB as opposed to another school?
You know, I like to think about the range of possibilities that we provide to our students. I think, college in general is a place where you find yourself, right? People say you find yourself. Essentially, what that means is that you're going to build relationships, you're going to make friends, you're going to find a mentor, you're going to be supported, right? When you come to Bertolon School of Business, every student in our school has a chance to explore a variety of possibilities. They're not bound into just one place or another. They're all doing one major, business, but they have the possibility of exploring 12 different concentrations, right? And they can explore those because the first 11 courses are the same.
Okay.
They have the possibility of becoming club members or club leaders, right? Because the number of students there are in our school are not thousands, right? They're hundreds. So you have 7 or 8 different clubs, and all of a sudden there are so many different possibilities. We take them on at least 7 or 8 different chamber events. Every one of them has an opportunity to go there. We bring speakers here. Every one of them has an opportunity to interact with guest speakers, with and each one of them gets a chance to be seen. Every student, right? Peer mentors, we have like 10 or 11 of them. Up until now, we were essentially just encouraging students to meet with the peer mentors. Now, this year, we have started a very formal process of mentoring, so that now it's not just students reaching out to the mentors to ask them about some advice. It is mentors reaching out to the mentees. And each one of them has an assigned number of mentees to say, I want to find out how things are going with you this week, right? And then figure out what are the issues that you're facing, and then try to find you or connect you with whatever resources there are, and then check on with you in another couple of weeks, right? Every single student who's coming in this year, 180 of them or something, every single student is now paired up with a peer mentor who's going to be talking with them. So every peer mentor has about 15 or so students that are assigned to them.
And I think university-wide, but in general, class sizes remain pretty small too, right? 12 to 15 or so per student? Or?
Class sizes are very small. Our average class size in the School of Business is about 20.
Oh, okay.
If you haven't seen our classes, you may have seen some of them, right? Some of our classes can take up to 24, 25 students. Some maximum size is 35, right? We don't have classrooms that accommodate any more than that. So our advanced level classes typically would have 14, 15, 16 students. So each one can interact. I mean, faculty members usually know the name of every student that they're talking to.
And that's the point that I was getting to, is that you're not going to be sitting in a 150-person lecture hall here. Your faculty members are going to know who you are.
They know the names of the students. Many faculty members will even know that, you were sick day before yesterday. How are you feeling today? And how is the situation? Because last time you came in and you told me mom's not feeling well. How is she doing now? Those kind of things. I mean, it's that personal connection that is possible because you're sitting in a room with it's less people in the classroom than there can be on Zoom that you can see faces. So you're actually being able to interact with people on a personal level.
So we get them in.
Yeah.
We get them mentored. We get them educated. We get them prepared. We get them graduated.
We provide them the support at every step of the way, right? And we love to see the level of confidence that comes in them before they graduate. I have this student who I saw on opening day 5 years ago. She was this very soft-spoken, very nervous student who had actually been asked to carry our banner, right? But she was really shy, and I spoke to her and asked her what she was majoring in, and she said business. I said, oh, well, lovely to see you here. I asked her to connect with our assistant dean, Don White, and said, I think you should consider her for like a peer mentor or somebody, because I think she would probably, grow herself, and she would probably be able to be a voice for those who are similar to her, like feeling really scared or nervous or whatever. And that student went on to compete in the business pitch competition, become a peer mentor, and become so confident of herself by the time she graduated. Those are the kind of differences we are making in people's lives. I mean, that student came to me because she was being supported financially by her grandmother, and she was on the dean's list at least 3 times before she came to see me. And the grandmother said, when she was having some financial difficulties, why don't you speak to the dean? You've been on the dean's list. Maybe they can find something for you. And we sure did, right? To find some financial support for those students so that they're not struggling and they can actually sign up for courses and go forward. So I think the close collaboration among various departments on university campus helps a lot. And the close connection with all of our students, where they feel free enough to walk into my office, walk into Dawn's office, into Leah's office, they feel, or into any of the faculty members' offices. They feel confident that they can just go in, talk about their problems, and they will be supported.
So if you're a student or a prospective student watching this, don't be afraid to reach out and ask questions and ask for help.
Absolutely. We are here to help them. I mean, and we want them to, I think college is all about making connections, right? I mean, we still have our friendships from the time we graduated.
Feels like 150 years ago.
I know,
yeah, they're still
right?
There.
And so we want them to make those connections. We want them to make some friendships. We want them to make close connections with their faculty members or with any of us, who can be their mentors for life. I mean, many of us still connect with our faculty members to say where we are, and we go back and see them, and they're the happiest people to see the progress that their students have made. And so we want them to thrive, and then also come back and let us know how far their journey has taken them.
And then hopefully they'll pay it forward to the next generation.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Dr. Raminder Luther, Dean of the School of Bertolon School of Business here at Salem State. Another school year upon us. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you. This was wonderful.
And we want to thank everybody that's been watching along on our special back-to-school editions of It Takes a Viking, the official podcast of the Salem State University Alumni Association and Foundation. My name is Mike Mitchell. Until next time, thanks for watching.